This is a feature story from the Show versus Business podcast. Enjoy.
So moving on, let's get our crypto stock check-in. So recently, meme stocks and crypto, we've seen a lot of movement in these area. We see crypto getting hammered. If you don't know, Bitcoin's basically getting hammered. It's down significantly from its high of around 64,000 in April to like around 32,000 as of today. And then Ethereum was as high as May 10th, about 4,000, and now it's just under 2,000 as of today. So, crypto is seeing a lot of concerns and issues and I'm just, from a business standpoint, there's a lot of questions about the long-term sustainability of these cryptocurrencies. What we're seeing high level is you're seeing a lot of the institutional money kind of getting taken out of it, and people are kind of thinking, is this really going to be something that we can look at as like a store of value? We see also issues with China, which is a big market in crypto, really putting a stop on trading and payment with cryptos. And so obviously we got such a big market that was influencing it. When they start taking the money out, obviously you're going to see a drop in the price because of the demand is not strong. And then the environmental concerns, right? You see tons of concerns about mining costs. How's it affect, the electricity? Electricity is not cheap. And then obviously that deals into, dirty, coal and other, dirty ways of getting electricity. So people are concerned about that. So there's a lot of other issues, and we don't even talk about, government agencies and looking to track crypto, and then the manipulation by big influencers. So high level, Mr. Benja, what are your thoughts? Are you still bullish on Bitcoin, even though it's basically, going back down to its earlier levels?
So, bullish on Bitcoin. In general, I'm bullish on crypto. Bitcoin in particular is weird because it's the it's the watermark. Everybody kind of follows along with what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin's doing well, everybody else tends to do well. Bitcoin drops, everybody else tends to drop a little bit in the space. So it's what I suspect will start to happen more and more is that we start to have these blockchain technologies and these cryptocurrencies diverge into their own separate uses, because right now everyone's kind of lumping them all into one, and that's not sustainable in a lot of ways. It's not economically sustainable. It's just not workable on your phone. It's like, well, wait a minute, I thought this was a currency, but someone's trying to use it as a store of value, and this other institution is looking at it as a speculative investment, and somebody else is thinking about it as a technology platform to be able to do things like write contracts or whatever. So with those four different ways of utilizing one single I don't even want to call it an asset, but one single technology, then you're going to have problems. So hopefully what we'll start to get is one or two of these altcoins maybe carving out a niche and saying, hey, we do just this thing, and that one can separate itself from the blockchain up and down, and then hopefully we'll see that happen. But right now, am I bullish on it? I'm bullish on the market, not so much Bitcoin though.
The challenge with that thesis, in my opinion, is the fact that you see high correlation. So basically, Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum and all these coins go up. Matter of fact, I was looking some quick, analysis here. 90-day correlation between, Bitcoin and Ethereum is basically 0.93, 0.7 to 0.93. So the closest you get to one, right, there's a one-to-one relationship. So that's just a 90-day correlation, right? Now, if you look at Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple, they all have high correlations. They're saying Litecoin was about 0.954. That's over 2 years, from 2016 to 2018. 0.916 for Ethereum and 0.836 for Ripple. So the challenge, people always say, yeah, these other coins can kind of surpass Bitcoin, but I just don't see it, right? Because, and I think it's also because, unfortunately, if you go to some of these exchanges that can exchange some of these altcoins, you usually have to start with Bitcoin, right? So you can do the exchange. And
Hmm.
then when you have this it's kind of like having a dollar, a U.S. currency, right? And you go to another country, the U.S. dollar is so strong, you can kind of, change it for anything. Bitcoin is so strong, you have to get into Bitcoin first before you can do the exchange,
Yeah.
right, to these other altcoins. So you're going to see a high correlation. It's going to be hard for one of these altcoins to just really take over for Bitcoin. So that's my challenge when people always say like, hey, maybe these altcoins can kind of supplant, Bitcoin, but I just don't see it yet. It's just, and Bitcoin, let's be honest, from a market cap standpoint, I think it's like, obviously it's the highest. And I
Hmm.
was going to look at how much higher, but it's, definitely significantly higher than, I think the nearest one is Ethereum. So when you have a, market cap that high, you're going to drive the market as well, the pricing of that market and overall understanding of it. So, that's my challenge. Like, okay, sure, I would love another altcoin to pop up and take over for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
When is that going to cross the streams, right? For lack of a better term.
Yeah, no, I totally hear what you're saying there. And yeah, the future is cloudy. I don't know what that looks like or how it happens, but even Bitcoin itself split from it was Bitcoin and then split Bitcoin Cash because some people were like, "Hey, it's gold, it's a store of value." Other people were like, "Hey, you can buy chicken patties with this." And it's like, which one is it? And El Salvador is kind of running into that problem now. We mentioned them a while ago, and people are trying to use it as cash, but then the price starts fluctuating, and the people are kind of like, "Hey, what's going on?" So yeah, it's right now it's all stuck to Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens, but I totally hear you, man.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Ethereum is the base, right, for NFTs, right? The whole contract concept, right? I think that's kind of where everybody's trying to get to. So, I would love to see Ethereum break out, a little bit higher, but I think that's kind of the baseline for a lot of this stuff, right? Long term, potentially, right? How Ethereum's contract based smart contracting is really kind of the baseline for some new innovation for the most part.
Yeah, it's funny. I just got an ad from Facebook telling me I could start my own Ethereum token. And I shouldn't have done it because I know what I'm going to get, but I clicked the ad and read their little, thing. Man, yeah, man, it's just like, hey, you know, dial up now. We send you the information. You create your own coin. And now I'm thinking over here like, hey, maybe I can get the show versus business coin, and we could just start trading on.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, it's still wild out there. And so much is going on. So many coins. What did they say? Like
Yeah,
10,000 coins are out there, or something like that.
it's ridiculous, and there's still a lot of Andreessen Horowitz, one of the top VC funds, just keeps investing in this market too. So I- I'm bullish too, even though it's depressed now. I think they're gonna figure out a way to make this work. Right? It's just too much interest. I mean, too much passion around this borderline. Basically, religious fervor
Hmm.
around Bitcoin. So when you have that much passion around something, something's going to be created because obviously they're paying attention. They want it to work, so they're going to put energy, time, and they're going to figure this out. So I think that's what makes me bullish on it. It's just figuring out what that looks like. That's the challenge. And so I think a lot of folks are still trying to think through that. So, again, we don't give investment advice, but, if I were you, hodl. Hold on for dear life, because
Un-
you know.
unless you live in mainland China.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful there. So real quick, we'll cover the meme stocks. So obviously AMC is the big one that kind of got hit recently, kind of in the news. It's kind of leveled out a little bit, but GameStop is always there. There's just this big sense that people want to kind of keep these meme stocks out there. If you go on Wall Street Bets, they're constantly pushing the people to hold the line against the big financial institutions, and trying to we're going to beat the man, and all these short sellers, we're going to beat them because we're going to drive the price up higher, and that's going to make them have to change their position. So again, that's these meme stocks are very similar to crypto, man. This is this religious fervor, right, around a bigger belief beyond just trying to make money, and people are trying to leverage this, right, to kind of sway these retail investors a certain way. So I did some number calculations when it comes to like new investors in the market. So
Okay.
retail investors, new brokerage accounts at 10 million already. So that means there's 10 million people who just started a new stock trading account. And this is only half the year, and that basically was the same total. So we're already at the same total that it was all of last year. So we're basically moving pretty fast. People are opening new accounts, doing new things. Retail accounts for nearly about 20% of all trades. So basically, every trade you see out there on the stock market, 20% comes from retail investors, basically the small investor sitting at home on their Ameritrade or Fidelity account trying to beat the market. And that's double what it was in 2010. So 10 years ago, it was only 10% of the market. It's now 20%. Uh,
You mean that counts like Donnell across the street when he got his Cash App and started trading?
Yes, or literally, I was hanging with some cousins this weekend. Yes, my cousins all knew about this. We were talking in detail about the stocks they were owning, and I said, "How long you been doing this?" March of last year. I was like, "Oh, there you go."
Yeah, man.
So yeah, it's a lot of new blood in there, man, and so it shows a lot of volume and volatility, right? In this market right now, and so it's kind of interesting to see. On one hand, it's good to see so many people passionate about the stock market, but are they educated? Excuse me, are they educated? And that's the challenge, right? And I think there definitely needs with the internet, there is better ways to get educated. There are YouTubers trying to educate people. There's things you can listen to, CNBC. But I do feel like the big investors do try to get these retail investors to move a certain direction because now they know where to get the information. So they may put some FUD out there. Hey, you got AMC. Well, I see another stock that you need to worry about. So they're trying to manipulate them one way or the other. And and a lot of these retail investors, let's be honest, a lot of them are just in it they see the big returns that people got from GameStop, or you hear all these stories. There was a story about a kid. His mom gave him like some GameStop stock for his birthday last year, and he's got roughly $100,000. So he's rich. He's
Yeah.
only 10 years old, and so people are like, you hear stories like that. People paying off their student loans right from the GameStop. So when you hear stories like that, you think it's a casino, man. You think it's a
Yeah,
lottery and
yeah.
ticket. And that's the scary part, man. So when people say, "Hey, this the next GameStop," we talked about this before. Then people get excited and they try the folks that influence folks, they pump it up, get the stock price up, and then once it's up, they sell their share because they know eventually it's gonna come back down because there's nothing sustaining that level, and there is concern there. So
And there's a name for it. If you want a little information, just search for the term pump and dump.
so I think I mean, yeah, like you said, these things have been around for years. It's not like this is nothing new, but just on this level, that's what's interesting about it, because if you go to like look at the stock market, you'll see the volume levels are like huge for these things. And so that means you've seen a lot of movement, a lot of volatility. So before, when you did these pump and dump, they would happen over like months, right? But now they happen over days. And so that's the challenge. And so just once again, buyer beware. I do feel like GameStop. We talked about this before. Do they have a fundamental business change that they're doing? Mr. Benja, as someone that was involved in the game industry and understand it, more than probably the average Joe. What's GameStop doing, man? Are they just just riding away from a marketing BS standpoint? Or are they really going to try to change, do something worthwhile?
Aish, it's hard to tell, man, because even while working within a company, it was hard to try to divine what the major players, the board members, the major stockholders, the company leaders, what they were doing and what they were up to. It's like, hey, they're making a big push in this direction. Why are they doing that? Oh, they were trying to sell off this one portion of the company, or hey, they're really making a big push. Oh, they're trying to get into this new technology sector. So, there's all these plays that are happening behind the scenes. I wouldn't try to, you know, I wouldn't try to guess as to what they were doing. Um, but if you've got this type of wave from consumer dollars, regular retail investors, then use it for something. We already know that they've got an NFT project coming around. So there's that. I mean, I'm sorry. That was GameStop with the NFT project. With I almost mentioned AMC. With AMC, they're doing other things with the popcorn to the investors, the retailers. So there's always some little play. If they can squeeze a little extra money out of that rock, then they'll go ahead and do it. As far as anybody making any big changes, like to swing the company around, I would usually expect that you would have made some type of bigger announcement, or at least like, hey, we're coming out with something new in the future. Give us 5 months. Hey, we're looking forward to doing X, Y, and Z. We've got a new partnership coming. There are these kind of hints that these companies put out. I'm not seeing that as many hints, so I'm personally not as secure in saying that they're doing something big, but
Mm-hmm.
who knows for real.
Yeah, strategy. When I think about it, like strategy, kind of boils down to about three things. And when you think about like, are you differentiated against your competitors, right?
Mhm.
Do you have something that's relevant? That means a lot of people want it. And then is it sustainable? Man, can you keep it up, right? And so all three of those things that are, it's hard to maintain balance of all three, right? Because you can't be so differentiated where you're not relevant to anybody, right? I can sell a pink elephant, but nobody
Yeah,
wants it. And then the other thing is sustainable. How hard, can you do that, but can you maintain based on your investments, right? So when you look at GameStop, against the umbrella, are they differentiated? Not really. They're just selling, games in the store. They're trying to do some interesting things with, I guess with the NFT market and stuff, but we'll
hmm
see how that works. Is it relevant? Not really, because you can buy the
yeah,
games online. So it's like, how big is that market for people to physically go in, unless there was a reason to go in physically, right? That made
yeah,
sense. And then sustainable, how sustainable, have they made the right investments, right, to kind of keep up with some of the new ways that they're going. And so that's debatable. They have the stock now to do it, right? Their stock has risen. I think by my count, it looks like they're up about 1,000% year over year. So their stock has gone up substantially. So there's a lot of money in play, but can they do something with it? So I don't know, man. That's the challenge, when you think about the fundamentals. Now, if you look at AMC, I think it's a similar situation too, right? So yes, they're giving popcorn out, but you know what? They have to pay out about 5.5 billion in debt. So that basically they got a lot of debt to buy more theaters, right? So they can grow. They're like they have around 8,000 screens, and so they're the biggest in U.S. But that's because they purchased so many other theaters, over the years. So they got this $5 billion debt they got paid back, and perhaps a better use of this extra stock instead of giving people popcorn would be able to pay that debt down, right? And so
yeah,
that way they have more, what they call profit, to kind of give out and create, other instruments like dividends, right, to pay out investors. So that's the thing. I mean, when you look at the business fundamentals of these companies, you like you question what can they do to kind of get out their, their processes, and it's going to take a lot more than giving out popcorn or creating some NFT
yeah,
project. I think they really got to
yeah,
think deeper.
yeah, and definitely, you also have to look at how the landscape itself is changing. AMC and GameStop are both brands that are heavily associated with shopping centers, shopping malls, and physical venues. Like, you don't go to a GameStop that's sitting out somewhere by itself. It's usually part of a strip mall, or, Barnes and Nobles and everything. So if everything in the strip mall goes away except GameStop, what are you going to do? Get mad? I mean, it's like our GameStop stores are doing well. Yeah, but the mall you're sitting in isn't. So, yeah, exactly. And that's to your relevance point and sustainability, even.
Yeah. So more to come, man. Dude, this is hot, hot, hot. We've been talking about this all year, so we'll see more. It's going to be interesting to kind of look back. Maybe we'll do a show. I think we have a prediction. We have to do a checking on our predictions, see
Oh,
where everything ended up. Yeah, so far,
see how
half of the
wrong I am.
year. Yeah. We're gonna definitely do something like that. Yeah, we did a prediction show for those that don't know. So check it out back in January. So we may do a check in, half a year check in on our predictions to see some of the things we talked about. Are starting to come true. Some of the things are not. So it's gonna be interesting.
Thank you so much for listening to this segment of the Show versus Business podcast. We want to bring you a relevant and fresh perspective every week. So please subscribe, check out our other videos, and definitely share your thoughts below. Peace.